We're here for, and that is to celebrate the achievements of the Rabin Medical Center and all that it represents. We support with this luncheon exchange doctors who come from Israel to the United States. Years ago, the Israeli Ministry of Health conducted its first ever patient survey of patients, asking them to rate the best hospital in Israel. Out of 26 hospitals, it's the first ever patient survey of hospitals, Rabin Medical Center came out on top, 81% approval. Treating 1 million patients a year, a third are Israeli Arabs. Of the 4,500 doctors and administrators and nurses, 1,500 are Israeli Arabs. And we're very proud of our legacy of this bridge. Medicine is a bridge to peace and serving everyone without discrimination. Great piece of news I have to share. Not only did we open the largest emergency and trauma center in the whole Middle East, and of course in Israel in August, 54,000 square foot emergency and trauma center. And unfortunately, right after it opened, it was used during the conflict inspired by Hamas and Iran against Israel from Gaza, and we treated 100 soldiers. None of them died. We saved all their lives.
Zhivago, to me, I joined with Lucy in 1997. Two reasons I joined. First is Lucy's music. Lucy's music is extraordinary. And secondly, when I was over in Russia, I had adopted a young boy. He was 2 years old from a Russian orphanage. I'm Russian. His name was Yuri Antiapov. When you see the show today, you'll see that it's Yuri Zhivago and it's Pasha Antiapov, and those are the two. Pasha plays the role of what we would know as Tolstoy and then Stalin. And Yuri Zhivago, Rabbi there, Pigish Goldsmith, showed me children living on the streets just simply because they were registered Jews. So I started a home for children. You can find it on the internet. It's called Anita's Home. And we have put through that home over 100 children. They're grown up now. They're educated. They have jobs. They're married. They're very functional kids. But it was just because they were Jewish. So Pincus and I started this home in 1999, and I had already joined on to Dr. Zhivago. And when we had the ribbon cutting ceremony, there was a plaque on the wall of the apartment building that they took in Russia, in Moscow for it. And it was where Pasternak started the novel Dr. Zhivago. So I decided that this was meant to be. And for the next 15 years, we've been working on this show. It's beautiful. It's important, it's happening, it's relevant, it's happening right now in the world.
My connection to the Rabin Medical Center is that my daughter-in-law went to the Sackler Medical School, and that has become part of the Rabin Medical Center. Alan Dershowitz asked me why I wanted to do Dr. Zhivago. Well, I always loved Russian music. So when I finished The Secret Garden all those many years ago, I said, what do I want to do? And then I thought, well, there's nothing with Russian flavor that's been on, that's been on the theater boards. So I started thinking about the things I've loved in literature to do as a musical. And then I hit upon Dr. Zhivago, and the reason I love the message of Dr. Zhivago is it's really about art and love, surviving chaos and destruction, and living on into the future.
Our Rabin Medical Center is really the leading example of excellence in clinical medicine, but also in research. And one of the fields which is also today, of course, very important are hematologic diseases. For example, AML. Cure, as you heard, is not really existing. So one thing which is being done today is the bone marrow transplant. And I think it's very, very important to know that you are saving lives with these events, because the logistics around the bone marrow transplant is only possible in very well-equipped centers with experts, with high expertise, and of course this needs the infrastructure. My primary clinical and research goals or interest is in epilepsy, and I want to establish and want to build up the epilepsy center at the Rabin Medical Center. Finished the residency in neurology in the Rabin Medical Center and in the Epilepsy Center at the UCLA. I was very, very happy to see that our standard of care back home in Beilinson in Rabin Medical Center in Israel is comparable from the quality, from the knowledge of the people, from what we can offer to the patients, to the best hospitals in the world here in the United States. We have neurosurgery. There's a very high success rate in those surgeries, but again, it also requires a huge logistics. And we are trying to build up one of those centers at Rabin Medical Center, and the first step was by the American friends, to send me to UCLA and give me this opportunity to learn the technique and to learn the finesse. Dinner with the Moignan family, which one of their sons, one of the members of the family, as I said, after whom the fellowship is named, Faribos Nobandegani was a neurologist and a neurosurgeon here in New York, and he suffered from AML and passed away from this disease. So this is the connection to neurology, me as a neurologist, and AML.
It's so important to register as a bone marrow donor, and if you can't, to tell other people why it's so important. You know, where do you turn if you're a patient and you're told the only chance of you living a few more years, months, days is to find a perfect stranger who will be willing to donate their bone marrow? And the way that that's found is by finding what we call a miracle match. And that match, 75% of the time, it's going to be a complete stranger who's someone's match. And the way that those strangers are found are through doing bone marrow drives. So anyone who's between the ages of 18 and 60, which makes you eligible, please sign up. The 5% number is so important. It's based on your genetic background. So Jay Feinberg, who was diagnosed with leukemia, our CEO, he was a founder of Gift of Life. And because of Gift of Life, someone who has a Jewish background and is told they have leukemia has a 75% chance of living. I think that's important for two reasons. The first is obviously that's a pretty significant increase. And the second thing to keep in mind there is it's not perfect. There are patients who didn't fall into that 75. And that's the reason why I'm here today. And that's the reason why the work that we do and the work that the Rabin Medical Center does is so important.
These are two extraordinary ladies. They are members of our board of directors. For many years, you have both led this group, and for many years they have organized every aspect of the luncheon. Mazel tov, thank you. Your honorary chairs, now you can enjoy the fruits of your labor. 1, 2, 3. Mazel tov!